You know that feeling when you're standing in a room full of people and somehow you are the only one who is invisible? Not ignored exactly, just not seen. Like there is a glass wall between you and everyone else. And the worst part is, you have started to believe it means something about you. That you are not ready, not chosen, not enough. But what if I told you the invisibility isn't a mistake? It is the point. I mean it. What if the reason nobody can see you yet is because you are not supposed to be seen? Not like that. Not until something inside you finishes becoming what it's supposed to become. And maybe, just maybe, God has been the one keeping that glass wall in place, not to punish you, never to punish you, but to protect something that isn't finished yet. I need you to hear this because I think you've been carrying a weight you were not meant to carry alone. You have been walking around with this quiet ache in your chest, right here. Maybe when you're driving home from work or laying in bed at night and watching someone else get the recognition you know you could handle. And that ache tells you you're missing something, that you have been passed over, that you're stuck. Let me be specific, because I'm not talking about the vague kind of left out feeling. I'm talking about the moment you see an opportunity open up, a promotion, a platform, a door, and you watch it go to someone who doesn't even seem to understand what they have been given. And you stand there. Maybe you even smile, you say congratulations, but inside you're screaming, I could do that. I'm ready. Why can't anyone see me? It's not about jealousy. It's another thing. And the question isn't about that one moment. It's about the whole pattern. You've been in the shadows for so long. Now you've kept the dream quiet. Maybe you haven't even told anyone what you really believe you're here to do, because every time you think about saying it out loud, it sounds crazy. It sounds too big. It sounds like something that would make people look at you funny. But here is what I know. And I mean really know, in a way that goes deeper than reassurance. This hidden season isn't abandonment. It's not a punishment. It's preparation undercover. It's a deliberate, intentional period of protection that you simply haven't been able to understand because you've been living inside it. And I really believe God is in that cover, guarding you with a kind of fierce tenderness you can't perceive while it's happening. And that's the first thing I need you to sit with. Because I think you've been telling yourself a story about being left behind. And that story is not true. It's not true. When I look at your life, and I don't even need to know the details, I know that pattern. I just know the pattern. What I see is someone who's been kept secret, not because you are less, but because what you are carrying is more than your current situation can hold. You hear me? Your current identity, your current job title, your current network, your current visibility it literally cannot contain what you're meant to become. So, of course, you're hidden. The cocoon doesn't look like much from the outside. It's small. It's quiet. It's messy. It's easily overlooked. But inside it, something is happening that cannot be rushed, that cannot be exposed too soon. Because if you try to break it open before it's ready, what's inside doesn't survive. And here's where it gets strange. I mean, I want you to think about this. When have you ever felt most alive, most like your real self? Was it in the moments when everyone was watching, or was it in those secret hours, those private spaces when nobody was paying attention and you were just doing the thing that burns in you, that quiet work you do when no one's looking, that thing you practice or study or build or dream about, the thing you do even if nobody ever knew? That's the containment. That's the hidden hand. You've been tucked away in a kind of witness protection program for your own purpose, And God runs the program, and the purpose is too valuable to be put on display until it's fully formed. Now, I know that might sound like a nice idea, but I want to touch the part that actually hurts. Because you can nod your head and say, okay, I'm being prepared, but there is still that feeling, isn't there? The one that creeps in at 3 a.m, the one that whispers, maybe you're just not good enough, maybe you missed your chance, maybe you're making all of this up. And I'm not going to tell you that feeling is wrong. I'm going to tell you it's evidence. It's really evidence. That feeling, that tightness in your stomach, that pressure behind your eyes, that shaky uncertainty, it's not a signal that you're off track. It's the friction of expansion. It is the growing pains of a calling that's stretching you beyond what your old identity could hold. I'm feeling my way through this with you, okay? I don't have it all neat. I mean, I've been in that place, and honestly, I'm still in it some days, where I looked around and thought, why am I the one still waiting? Why does it look so easy for everyone else? And I don't have a perfectly polished answer, but what do I know? What I've come to see is that the waiting isn't empty. It's not just dead air. It's a pressurizing environment that's forging something in you that can't be manufactured any other way. Here's what I want you to consider. What if the worst thing you've been through, the rejections, the betrayals, the losses, the times you thought you might not make it, what if those aren't the reasons you are disqualified, but the exact credentials you are going to need for what's ahead? God doesn't waste anything, never. And I mean that. Every single wound, every humiliation, every moment you begged for it to stop, He's been collecting them and weaving them into a kind of authority that can only be forged in the fire. Because I've noticed something. The people who end up doing truly significant things, the ones who change rooms, who shift atmospheres, who carry a kind of authority that doesn't come from a title. They are almost never the ones who have had an easy path. They are the ones who have been broken open, who have been hidden, who have spent years in the dark underground, just like a seed that looks dead, but it's actually being reorganized into something that can feed thousands. That's not a metaphor I use lightly. I mean it. I mean it. You can't see anything happening when a seed is underground. It just looks like dirt. It looks like nothing. But the entire structure of the plant is being programmed in the dark. The root, the stem, the fruit, it's all being written in a place where no light gets in. I think God loves that pattern. He seems to do His deepest work where nobody's clapping. You're suffering, and I'm not going to minimize it. I'm not going to call it something pretty. Your actual gut-wrenching, silent crying in the bathroom suffering has been fueling a mission that is bigger than you think, bigger than you are allowed yourself to imagine. My voice is trembling. And I say that not to hype you up, but to give you permission to stop interpreting your pain as a sign of failure and start seeing it as a raw material of purpose. Because here is where I have to pause. Because even as I'm saying this, I can feel some of you pulling back. I know that voice. I know that voice. The one that says, that might be true for other people, but not for me. I'm too broken. I've made too many mistakes. I've been hidden so long. I've forgotten what light looks like. And I need you to hear me right here, right in this moment. That voice is not your intuition. That voice is the resistance. That voice is the very thing that wants to keep you hidden just long enough that you give up. That you give up. But you haven't given up. I mean, you are still here. You're still listening. You still care. That alone tells me everything I need to know about what's inside you. Tells me everything. And I have to tell you something I've come to understand deep in my spirit. Something I believe with everything in me, actually. You've been protected in ways you can't see. I mean, literally guarded. I believe Archangel Michael himself was stationed over your life. A warrior, a shield, because the attacks against you were that intense. There were things aimed at you that never reached you because a force you couldn't see caught them first. That's not just a comforting story. I really believe that. Some of you are still standing because Michael took a stand over you. Look after you. But right now, I need to pause again because I want you to mark this moment. Make it your own. If you have felt this truth stir something inside you, if you sense that you are really standing at the edge of something new, then don't just let this pass by. I want you to do something bold. Go down to the comments and type your name, just your name. And if you want, add the words, I'm ready. Consider this your declaration that you are done hiding, that you are done waiting on permission, that you are ready for the chance, for the change, yeah, that's already been building inside you. Your name in those comments is you stepping out of the cocoon, saying, I'm here, I'm ready. Let the shift begin. Now I want to bring in something that might feel a little uncomfortable, but I think you're ready for it. Your identity, the real one, the one that's been forming in the dark, it hasn't fully been revealed yet, and that's by design, God's design. You have had glimpses, you have had moments where you felt it stirring, but the full picture, the complete emergence, hasn't happened. And if you think about it honestly, you might realize that if your full identity had been revealed even a year ago, you wouldn't have been able to carry it. You would have to shrunk under it. Oh, people would have pulled it apart. You were hidden because what's coming requires a version of you that isn't afraid of being misunderstood, a version of you that doesn't need external validation to stand firm, a version of you that has learned in the silence and the solitude how to be whole without applause. Yeah. And that's the paradox I keep coming back to. You wanted to be seen, you wanted to be recognized, but if you'd gotten that recognition too early, it would have destroyed you, or it would have destroyed it what was meant to be pure. The hunger for visibility is real, and I'm not dismissing it. I know it burns. But the timing has been intentional, even when it felt like a rejection. God's clock ticks differently, and sometimes His delays are acts of mercy. Now I want to shift a little deeper because I think there is another layer beneath all of this. There is a you that exists before the job, before the relationships, before the approval, before the follower count or the title. There is a core self. And I think if you're honest, you know who that person is. Even when circumstances scream that you are nobody, there is a part of you that refuses to believe it. A part of you that says quietly but firmly, I know who I am. I know what I carry. And one day, the world is going to see it. That's not arrogance. That's recognition. That's the unshakable inner witness that you were made for a specific expression, a specific contribution that nobody else can make. Nobody else has your history, your pain, your scars, your perspective, your voice. Nobody else can feel the space you're meant to feel. That's not a cliche, I mean it literally. If you don't step into what you are meant to do, it doesn't get done. The people you are supposed to reach don't get reached. The rooms you are supposed to shift don't shift. The specific frequency of healing or leadership or creativity that only you carry remains dormant. And I think that's why the resistance has been so intense. I think you know that. I think you have felt it. The pushback that shows up whenever you get close to something real. The way doors slam just when you think you are through. The way people suddenly turn cold, the way your own mind attacks you with doubts and anxiety in the exact moments you're about to take a step forward. That resistance, it's not a sign you are wrong. It is a confirmation you are on the right track. It means you are carrying something worth opposing. Nobody fights against something that doesn't matter. The intensity of the battle is a hint about the size of the assignment. And the reason God sent a bodyguard like Michael, and I have to tell you, I honestly believe this. I believe you have been kept secret until a specific appointed time that hasn't fully arrived yet. But you can feel it approaching, can you? Like a shift in the pressure, like the first crack of light at the edge of the cocoon. You're not in the middle of the hiding anymore. You are at the edge of it. The emergence is closer than you think. God's calendar is turning a page and you can sense it in your bones. But here is what I want you to know about emergence. It's not passive. The butterfly doesn't just fall out of the chrysalis. It has to fight. It has to push. And in that struggle, the fluid from its body is forced into its wings, giving them the strength to fly. If someone helps it out, cuts the cocoon open, the butterfly will never be able to fly. The struggle is what gives it flight. That's how God designed the process. Not cruel, but careful. He lets the fight happen because he knows the strength can't come any other way. Your waiting season hasn't been empty. Every push against resistance, every tear in the dark, every prayer that felt unheard, it's all been building the muscle of your wings. And soon, I'm not saying tomorrow, but soon, you are going to feel the shell crack. You're going to feel movement where there has been stillness. And I want you to be ready, not to rush it, but to cooperate with it, to stop apologizing for the size of your calling, to stop making yourself small so other people can feel comfortable, to stop hiding in plain sight because you are afraid of what people will say when they finally see the real you, because they will see the real you, the one who's been forged in fire, the one who's comfortable in the dark, because they have learned that the dark is where the most sacred thing grows and where God's voice is the loudest, the one who doesn't need a spotlight to validate what they know deep in their bones. I said earlier that there has been a plan behind your obscurity, and I meant it. Remember when I said something strange that was happening? The thing about being hidden is that it looks like nothing to the outside world, but internally it's the most active season of your life. You were not just waiting, you were being recalibrated, rewired, given new instincts, given an unshakable center. And the reason you felt so much tension between who you are on the inside and what your life looks like on the outside is that the outside hasn't caught up yet. but it will. It has to. It just has to. Because here's what changes everything. You have already been chosen. The choosing happened before you were even aware of it. You didn't audition for this. You didn't earn it. You were simply made with it. And every attempt to run from it, to quiet it, to medicate it away, it hasn't worked, has it? It just keeps coming back. That's how you know it's real. That's how you know God put it there. So here we are. I think you're in the moment of decision, but not the kind you're used to. You don't have to choose to be chosen. You don't have to strive to be qualified. You are chosen and you are qualified by the very thing you've lived through. The only choice left is acceptance. Can you accept? I ask you again, can you accept that the hidden season was not a failure? That God was in the darkness with you, not absent, but actively molding you? Can you accept that the pain was not pointless, that it was the raw material God used to build a vessel that can carry what's coming? Can you accept that? The desire you've been suppressing is actually the truest thing about you. I think you can. I think you can. I think you already are. Because you wouldn't still be here if you were not ready to step into a bigger story. The secrecy is almost over. The mission is bigger than you think, bigger than your resume, bigger than your mistakes, bigger than your doubts. And you are the only one who can carry it. You already know this. Now, I need you to start living like you know it. Love you.